a little bit, Jim, so you center yourself.
There we go. Okay, now we're up here. Let a few people get in here. And we'll get rocking and rolling. Hopefully somebody will show up. It says 0 right now.
I had a lot of hits today, so
good. So once we get some numbers on there, then we'll. Bruce Nilsson, you must know him.
Yep.
Okay. Says can't wait to. Okay, so we got 26 people in here. So good evening. We're up here, Lake of the Woods at Lake Road Lodge. Marshall and
Jim.
So, Jim, what do you do here?
One of the guides.
Okay. How many guides you got, Marshall?
4. Yeah, we got Jim, John, Joe, Tyler. It's almost the J team. We got to figure out Tyler for a nickname with J.
So let's just start out and go right off the bat and just kind of talk about ice conditions a little bit. What are you guys seeing up here right now?
Yep.
Well, Marshall, you know more than I, but you were out there, right?
So we were out there today, and I was very surprised. We were finding a little more than we probably should have started 2 days ago. I've been finding anywhere from 9 to 10, couple spots, 11 inches, but underneath the snow, we were finding 8. So when you're finding 8 inches under the snow, it's getting good. That being said, you know me, I was like err on the side of caution. It's stake trails. We only check what we fish. So, and
when did it lock up here?
Well, we were pretty sure. Well, we had to have been locked up before the big blow last weekend, whatever night that was, because we were all pretty concerned about what was going to happen. And we went out the next day. I was down in St. Paul, but when the guys went out the next day and looked, and they called me, and yeah, they were pretty happy with what they seen. So we haven't been too far out, but looks pretty good. Got a little bit of rough ice here and there, but it's not bad.
The road coming off Pine Island. That's plowed and stuff. That's actually pretty smooth. Not bad. On either side it was.
We drug it, and it'll smooth out a little more when we get a little more snow on it. But it's probably better than what I've seen it for a while, honestly.
So Hannah Ekman asked if we are Canadian. We are not. I just found this hat in the garbage, and
we're
it was
close.
Too nice to throw away.
2 blocks away.
Yeah, we're real close.
I was actually surprised today when we were out there that for as much wind as we had, it wasn't that rough.
No. I mean, it had to have been locked up on, I think, Friday night. The big blow came, and it had to have been locked because we had a lot of wind.
So I was out fishing for a couple hours today. Ran into some saugers, and from what I could see, the ice conditions were pretty doggone smooth. So it looked pretty good out there. So as far as snow, what are you looking at for snow out there right now? Is it
nothing? Only where there's a little bit of pushed up ice, which is good because then we make it faster. We're getting snow right now tonight. I really haven't looked at what are they saying we're supposed to get tonight.
I think it was another chance of an inch, maybe. So.
Yeah, that's not going to hurt us.
Yeah, so
it'll actually be okay. We'll be able to bank some houses.
Yeah, it'd be pretty good. Like just walking on the ice is pretty nice right now until you get to the bare ice. So if you kick through the snow, it gets a little slick.
Yeah, the biggest fear we always have on early ice is getting a big dump, because then once you get that big dump, it slows down. So if we can hold off another week or two till Christmas before we get that first big dump, we'll be okay.
We don't have any slush and stuff like that. See any questions? Dave S says he gained ice really fast and had 5 inches in 3 days after locking up. And I think it went pretty quick here too, because
Yes.
went pretty good. So
yeah.
Todd Nelson's out fishing crappies right now on 12 inches.
Good.
So I wonder where that's at. And a lot of portables up there today. Not really.
Not really. No. I probably counted maybe
6, I think.
A handful. It'll get cranking going here. Thursday, Friday. We got a few guys coming in tomorrow. We're gonna fish our first customers tomorrow. We talked about that earlier. So yeah.
So if any of you guys in the chat that live around here, you want to get up fishing this weekend, you got openings?
We do.
Okay. How many openings are you looking at?
What do we got, Tammy? For this weekend?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4 rooms available.
We have 4 rooms left.
So 4 rooms, guys. If you're in those rooms, can sleep up to what, 3, 4,
3 to 4,
Depends on
depending on which room it is.
depending on what your sleeping arrangements are. If you want to sleep with your buddy, you can sleep
Oh, the
6
suite's
or 7.
open.
But
Tammy just said the suite's open, so that'll take 6.
okay, so you got one room that'll take 6. So, just got here. What's the ice like? I'm thinking about the ice looks really good, smooth for the most part.
Mhm.
And how far out have you been? Would you say?
Well, I'd say you were probably half a mile to 2/3 of a mile out today. We really haven't gone beyond that, Cody. Tomorrow we'll do a little exploring beyond that. I think it's going to be pretty good beyond that yet, but we'll check that tomorrow.
You've already pulled some houses out.
Yes, we pulled 3 today. We're fishing 2 tomorrow. We'll pull another 4, 5, 6 tomorrow. Get ready for Thursday. We have some more in. We'll pull more on Friday. We'll have plenty of houses for Saturday if people want to come fishing.
So, and then you accommodate for some of the people that are in here that may be not familiar with Lake Road, haven't been up here before. Do you cater to guys that fish portables and stuff too?
Absolutely. Yep.
So, yeah, you can kind of do whatever you want to. Kind of.
Yes.
You can rent a sleeper. You can rent a day house. You can rent, or you can use portables. You got Vexilars if you forget yours. Batteries. I mean, you pretty much
got it. We'll take care of you.
hook a guy up. So
We can do handicap as well too.
We have handicapped houses.
yep. I know we talked about it a little bit last week, but how many sleeper houses do you have?
10,
And how many day houses?
25.
25. So we got 35 houses now.
Yep.
So I was asking, will you allow sleds or just walking?
Sleds,
Sleds,
4-wheelers, ATVs. You were out with my
Ranger.
crew Ranger today.
Yep.
That's good to go.
Yep.
I don't see us letting any mid-sized vehicles out this weekend. Not saying it's out of the question for next weekend, but it won't be this weekend at all.
Yep.
We're supposed to get a warm up, which we're not going to lose ice, but we're not going to make it as fast as we made it the last 4 or 5 days.
I think we've done pretty. I mean, I think tonight isn't supposed to be like 13 below or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. So we're gonna probably make some more tonight, and then a couple days, but it's gonna get slower. But it's gonna be nice for guys that like to be out on wheelers, snowmobiles, stuff like that. It's when it gets warm like that, that's a time to really move around. So
Yeah.
We leave right from our room from Lake Road with our sleds every year. Yep, that's my cousin. He comes up here every year.
He's in the computer.
Any idea how much
seen him.
ice is on the smaller lakes up there?
Not sure, but
Yeah.
I know if we got ice on the big one, it's good on the small ones because they were froze over before.
As long as there's no current or anything
Yep.
like this. But so looking at 68 people in here. Appreciate each and every one of you. We're going to talk about a number of different things tonight. We talked a little bit about ice conditions, a little bit about snow, a little bit about lodging. Your start date already kind of started today. And
Cody started it today.
yeah, so got out here and fished for a couple hours, ended up with some saugers. And I think I maybe was just a little bit deep, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe should have went in a little bit shallower, but it was just, I had a couple hours and I just I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait it out.
Well, the guys that came in earlier, they were fishing portables and they fished all day. So, I mean, we had portable guys here tonight. They were here when I opened this morning to get checked in, and they were out all day. And I think they said 75 fish for the day. You walked down and seen their fish.
Yep.
I didn't.
Yep. So they had saugers.
They had some fish.
Burbot, some perch, stuff like that. So Tom Land asked how the fishing's been. Fishing, I mean, really, fishing is just kind of getting going. Guys really haven't been out a lot.
Yeah, a good report. Like I told them guys when they came in here this morning, they're like, "How's fishing?" I said, "You're going to be my report when you come in tonight." And they were happy.
Yep. So they got a lot of good eater size fish there. So you guys do tournaments?
No, not in the wintertime. We take tournament anglers for lodging if there is one, but yeah, I don't do any tournaments over here.
You got into the was it called this year?
Well, I do tournaments. Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yep.
I do the Chili Bowl, and actually next summer my daughter has a pretty huge interest in it, so we might do a little more next summer with her.
Is there a lot of tournaments up here that not
we
the
have
monster tournaments,
we have
but
the 2 MTTs. We normally get the AIM. We have the Dan Anderson Memorial Warrior Tournament. those are the bigger ones up here. We've had the NWT, we've had the MWT, the Masters. I fished that one a few years ago. But yeah, we get a few.
So,
Yep.
Any idea how the west side of the lake is looking? So I talked to Wes Harder the other day, and he was hoping to get out fishing, but there's a little bit of a pile up by Swift ditch, so they were talking about trying to get that carved out. But I haven't heard much about that, but I will know more tomorrow. We'll be doing another fishing report tomorrow, so I'll have some info for you there. Tom Lyon is the best fisherman I ever met. He knows where to find him all day. See if I missed anything. Just make sure I don't miss anybody. If anybody has any questions, if you got any questions, go ahead and ask them. Anything like that. Let's talk a little bit about, you were down at the St. Paul Ice Show this past weekend. How did that go?
Great. A lot of people, a lot of interest. Talked to a lot of older customers from the past before COVID that you didn't see during that. They're coming back. We're getting back to normal. It was a really good show. It was fun to see everybody.
And I'll be the first to say it's about damn time we get back to
Exactly.
normal.
Agreed.
So love the fish mounts on the wall. Yeah, you got quite a few kind of bend it a little
Some good
bit.
ones.
Show you back here. It's a nice place, clean, comfortable, good staff, good people around here. It'll be if you decide to come up here, it'll be it'll be a good experience for you.
Got to have an eagle and an American flag.
Right. Any word on the snowmobile trail?
I don't know. Today when I drove by, we set that house in the bay. It's, as far as I know, it's not staked yet. I could find that answer out for you. I'll find that answer out for you. You can post it on your next two.
And it's honestly, it's pretty early.
It is. You know what? I'll do a text right now. I can get some info on that.
Because how far ahead of normal are you right now?
Well, normal. I mean, nobody knows normal, but as far as compared to, say, last season, Marshall, you said we were still 4 days ahead, right?
Yeah. So last year we got going. I left for Fargo Ice Show on Thursday. We fished our first customers on Friday, and it's Tuesday. So we're about 3 days ahead of schedule, which is good. You know,
we were here last year on like the Fletch here in the chat. What 4 days ahead? We were here 4 days.
That's what I thought. 4 days or so. Yeah.
Last year. Here's a comment. I'm going to go off the rails just a little bit. I got something to say about this, but what are the new jigs you guys would recommend for this year? Anything new? Just coming from the ice show?
No. I didn't get a lot of time to walk around the ice show, Cody. It was so busy, and it was just John and I down there. I don't know. I'm an old school guy. I like my Northland spoons, buckshots. I really do. I mean, that's kind of where I go. Your Schneider's spoons, the one we were talking about today, those custom jigs and spins, flutter spoons, right? Mm-hmm. I like them. Slender spoons. They're really good. Yeah.
What's John's son's name again? Jacob. So Jacob, if you're watching, we're thinking of you. Your dad told me about you today, so we just wanted to mention you. Last night I went into Cabela's and I went into Shields, bought a couple new ice rods, bought a couple reels, and was going to buy a bunch of buckshot rattles. They're $8 a piece. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
They were $8 at Cabela's and $7 at Shields. But I mean, and on the same rack they had these custom jigs and spins, these slender spoons, and they were $3 or $4. So I just bought a whole bunch of them, and I'll just switch to them slender spoons. That's what I was using.
They're
today.
good. I've used them.
Yeah, they really nice fluttering action, and
you know, I heard a lot of. I mean, talk about what you see new. I heard a lot of people talking about as they came through the booth, the Venoms. That seemed to be a pretty hot topic. I don't know. Can't say I've ever used them.
I've not heard of them, I guess.
Yeah.
But and I was looking at. I wanted to get some coffin spoons, and they were $8 too. And I'm just like.
So where we live in today, and everything is, you know.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. So I think where I was going with that is I'm going to kind of look for some people that are maybe making spoons and lures privately,
Mm-hmm.
some
Mhm.
smaller business, and try and,
Yep.
and
Like I'll say that, like with like all my, like my spinners, my spinner harnesses and everything in the summertime, I get them locally sourced by a guy right here in Baudette, and he's awesome. He ties me any color I want.
you can
You
shout
know,
them out on here if you want to.
He's a local guy. I don't, he doesn't do it. I think he sells it. It's Hollywood. He sells them at Log Cabin Bait and Liquor. It might be the only place he sells them, but he's good. He does a good job.
I just think that if a guy can support some smaller businesses, might be good.
Family owned and operated.
Yeah, I mean, nothing again. I know everyone's out to make money, but it just, to me, $8 for a spinner or for a spoon is just kind of nuts. I mean, that's what a guy was paying for crankbaits and stuff. I mean, it just.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll end that little tantrum right there, but get back to some of these questions. How much snow? We don't have there's not a lot of snow.
Barely any. If you're coming up with a snowmobile, you better have scratchers on it right now.
Yep.
My suggestion would be, if you're coming this weekend, you're going to want a four-wheeler, side-by-side, not a sled. If you bring a sled, have scratchers on it.
What access do you guys go out of for four-wheelers?
We use Adrian's access.
So Adrian's Road, yep. So touch on that real quick. If you're coming up here and you're staying and you're going to go out portable fishing, what's the road fee and stuff?
You get your road fees. If you're staying with me as my customer, you can do all that right here with me. We'll take care of it. If you're using Adrian's Road, if you're using Wigwam's Road or another road, then obviously you got to go there. It's $15 a day per vehicle.
Okay. Skull Vikings. All right.
10-2.
Yeah, until they get to the first round of the playoffs. Don't hit
But
me.
you gotta love the Wild too.
Nobody hit me now.
Still winning.
$9 for some glass buckshots at a local tackle shop. It's getting. Should have send to show 20 to 30% off on all jigs. I suppose there was probably some deals at the St. Paul.
I'm sure there was.
Frostbite dinner bell. I've yet to try one of those. I was going to buy a couple of Frostbite rods, and I went to Shields last night, and I ended up walking out with 2 tuned up custom rods, and I really, really, really like them.
Really?
Oh, I felt good setting the hook to those things today. Yeah, and that's what happened to me up at the angle last week. I lost the buckshot I bought. A pike bit me off, so two prices are crazy. That's why I asked. Yep. And $5 diesel causing high prices across the board, right? And I know it goes all. I know it goes all the way across. But
it sucks.
I'm not mad at Northland Tackle, but I'm just saying, because Shields and Cabela's puts a markup on it too, but it's just like, just that sticker shock,
Oh yeah.
So, can you bring up his crew side by side? That's what I was out on tonight.
I got a 2019 Ranger crew. Love it. It's awesome.
So
never gave me any issues.
And that
growing up where I am a little brand partial, maybe.
Yep.
But no, it's never failed me yet. So.
And that's So you're allowing all UTVs and ATVs and snowmobiles out right now.
Yeah.
What if you were to predict? And I know you don't like predicting, but I'm going to ask you this question anyway. When would you guess half tons would probably be?
Boy, we're making ice, so.
Because you want about what, 15 inches, 16?
Yeah, we if we me, we are on the side of caution, really heavy. We're not cowboys, and me and you have had this conversation many times. We want 15 to 16 inches, and I know there's going to be the naysayers where we could take a 3/4 ton on that, but we don't like accidents. We've never had an accident yet.
Yep. DK Magic Powder. No. Never heard of it. Yeah, I do like it. Next weekend for sure, if it doesn't snow much. How much are you seeing in areas that you're catching? How much ice or ice? I would say there was at least 8 to 10 there.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, we got 8 to 10.
So, but back to the St. Paul show. you said that a lot of people from the live, or there were some people that mentioned the live stream down there.
Good,
So that
good
was
turnout for the live stream. Yeah, it was pretty fun.
So that was good.
It was real fun to meet the people. If you guys come to Fargo next weekend, mention after 5, say you watch our live stream. It's pretty awesome to get the feedback about it.
And just to see, like, it's, not real. I wasn't really expecting a lot of people from, the cities or whatever to see this, but I mean, I know Lake of the Woods is popular and all that, but it's just kind of neat how the channel growth and all that to see that it's pretty cool. So how much ice? Yeah, I would say it was about 8 inches roughly.
Your ice is only as good as your least amount of ice you find. So we're calling it 8 inches today.
So here's a good question. If you have only one chance to hit Lake of the Woods this winter, do you go early, mid, or late? Well,
Jim?
Well, I'd go early and late.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's my two
I'd
favorite
go all
times.
3, but
I would say I would answer that a little differently depending on what I was trying to accomplish. If I was trying to big walleyes, I would say early would be my guess. If I was big pike, early and late.
Late
But
for big pike.
but
I would
early
pick,
too,
if I had to pick one for
If
big
you had to
pike,
pick
I would
one.
pick late.
If you had to pick
If
one,
I had to pick one for big walleyes, I'd probably pick early. But it's Lake of the Woods. The next time you set the hook, any time of the year, it doesn't matter. It can be a 30-inch walleye, a 60-inch sturgeon, a 42-inch northern, a 15-inch crappie, a 15-inch perch, 27-inch burbot. I mean, it's just Lake of the Woods. That's just the glory of this lake.
Yep. You never know. Yeah. So he's
I mean,
talking
right
big
there,
walleye.
19-inch saugers right behind your head.
Yep. So he's saying big walleye. What time? Which one of the 3 for big walleyes? Early ice.
Earlier the better.
I'm a late guy, but that's just my opinion.
I
I
think
like when the weather's starting to warm up
Yeah.
and it's starting to change and
longer days.
Yep. You're able to stay out there a little bit longer. You can stay out there on that ice until 9 o'clock some years and fish.
How many years have you been fishing Lake of the Woods?
Geez, I don't know. A long time.
You were taking me up here before I had a driver's license.
Yeah, 30 years probably.
What's your
32?
What's your personal best?
For me, my best was 8 pounds, but that was back in the day when you didn't measure the fish, that you weighed it.
Yeah.
Right.
So, the girth depending on full of eggs, I'm sure in the spring, but
So it was
nice fish.
a 27-inch walleye.
And it
8
was a
pounds.
spring fish, getting ready to spawn. But
So in your experience, these are questions I always like to ask the guys that have been up here a long time. What would you say Lake of the Woods is now in 2022 versus 2002? Would you say it's better, the same, or worse?
oh, I'd say it's better now. Absolutely.
Because I remember 2000 and I think it was 2001. If you went ice fishing, you catch 110 fish, but they're all 13 inches or
Right.
or
Quality is better if you ask me.
So, yeah, it's the best lake in the world in my opinion, but I'm kind of partial to it. So, the late pike bite is fire. Yes, it can be very, very, very good, and it's so much fun. It is so much fun. Yep, pack light, move till you find them. That's the fun of fishing. Yep, and it's kind of nice. I guess for me, like the one thing I do like about early ice, it is so much easier to be mobile.
Yeah.
You're not dealing with 4 feet of snow.
Yep, I agree.
Yep.
3 feet of ice and slush and all that stuff. So it is and late can be nice too. Once that snow burns off and it's you just kind of have the ice. It's kind of nice. But how far are you out fishing? So
I'd say we're 2/3 of a mile right now. We'll be out a little farther than that by the weekend. No need to go far right now. That's the luxury of it. I mean, you can only use right out front. There's no guy don't have to go 20 miles.
Which is nice.
Yes.
So Fletch was up here on the Rainy River this fall and caught a 31.5-inch walleye.
Beautiful walleye.
And I remember he called me and said, "Should I let it go or should I keep it?" And I said, "Well, if it was me,
That's a gorgeous fish.
I would keep
I don't
it.
know if I could let that go.
I would have kept it because just to me, if I'm going to mount a fish, I don't want a replica.
Yeah.
You know, but
I don't even have one that big, Fletch. So
I don't either.
my biggest one is behind us, and it's 30 and a half.
Yeah, I haven't even cracked 30. I've tried, but I haven't done it yet. Amazing days over 100 fish with a very nice size average before Christmas. Yeah, and I think early, you can sit out there and you can catch a lot of fish because they're like the saugers tonight that I caught were super, super aggressive. There was no messing around. It was just bang, you get into that middle winter.
Well, we got a lot of oxygen right now.
Yep.
I mean, you get into that mid-February before the creeks start to run, and they get a little lethargic. But we always seem to find fish.
Yeah, there's a lot of fish in that lake. It would be just interesting just to see how many, just the number of how many fish are actually in that lake. It'd just be, it'd be nuts.
Nothing wrong with releasing a 29-inch walleye, Dave.
Nope. There's nothing wrong with it. I just for me, if I caught one 30 or above and it was a nice fish,
31 and a half still swimming. Yeah, I'd have had a tough one with that, Fletch.
it'd have been going on the wall for sure. But that's my threshold is 30 inches. If I catch a 30-incher, it'll be.
You wonder how many times that 31-inch walleye was caught and released, though.
Right over
Through its
and how
lifetime.
old.
Yeah.
Have you been kind of a favorite thing for me? But have you been hearing much about spearing lately?
Have not. No, I have not. We got to get that done, though.
It's I think that's one of my. Gosh, I've gotten so many addictions over the last couple of years, and spearing definitely is one of them. I know a lot of guys don't like spearing, but it is so fun.
I've only done it a couple times. It is fun.
And a clip fin, maybe we'll catch it again at 31 inches. 32 is his line, he says. Well, now he's getting greedy. So I brought him to Lake of the Woods.
You spoiled them.
Yeah, I did. Now he won't leave me alone. My phone rings all the time. He's always wanting to go fishing. And then I brought him up to the angle and spoiled him even more.
So I've guided since probably 2010, somewhere in there, give or take a year. Don't know exactly when I actually can say I started guiding, but I could tell you how many 32-inch walleyes I'd put on. I remember the 32-inch walleyes that I put in my boat, and it's 3.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not real common.
I wonder.
But I remember every one of them.
Wonder what the biggest walleye caught out of Lake of the Woods is.
I don't know that. But I have seen a 34 come out. It's on the rock pile at Zipple Bay, actually. But I don't know what the biggest one is. That's got to be probably pushing it, honestly.
Catch me on the day that I hold one, I'd release it. I'd rather have one of those Genex in the water and replicas look real. Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about having that actual fish.
Total respect for you for wanting to release it.
And
absolutely.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yep.
But there gets to be a big disagreement sometimes over you got to release them. You got to do a replica, this and that. You know what? I'm not saying I agree or disagree with putting a fish on the wall. We have regulations. It's a legal fish. It's your fish. You caught it.
It's your call.
It's your call. It's
Yep.
it's your decision to do that.
Yep. I agree 100% with that. He says if you went to caught it on camera, you probably would have mounted it. So I've heard there is no night bite on Lake of the Woods. What are your thoughts?
Well, that's up and down. It seems like the last couple of years, I personally think, now Jim runs my sleepers, so he gets better reports than I do. I think it's up a little bit, maybe the night bite.
I think people
It's
don't
hit and miss.
understand it. There is a bite, but as like we were talking earlier before, as the season progresses, the bite gets longer and longer, so it gets to be a little bit later. But there's been times that we're getting customers that are catching, nice walleyes at 2 a.m.
And does it seem more typical that the walleyes that you do catch at night are bigger?
Yes.
Yep.
The only reason I say that is I think it's because of, they're obviously able to see a little bit better in that dark water that late, And it seems to be the bigger ones that are more on the hunt. But
Yep. Yeah, because I've heard that, guys, and like last weekend at the angle, we were catching fish like almost 6:30, 7 o'clock,
mhm.
in 13 feet of water. So I think there's a lot of variables in it, but I think there is one that exists. Are you going to go out and catch a limit? Maybe not,
No.
but
You might only catch one.
But it might be nice.
So I got a story there.
And you don't have to stay just because the sun's down. It doesn't mean the bite's over.
Right.
You can
Throw-
stay an extra hour.
Throw one line downers. If if you're in your wheelhouse or your sleeper house, I got a story there. Sarah, if you're listening, she said she was gonna listen tonight. I don't know if she is, but sitting in our sleeper house one night and the bumblebee, and all of a sudden I hear a rattle reel go, and I get up and I catch it. It's a nice walleye, and I throw it in the pail and I bait it up. I always just put one line down because I don't want to burp it to take the line in the middle of the night and take a victory lap and take them all. Everybody's had that happen. Put it this way, long story short, by the time daylight came, I had her limit and my limit in the bucket, right? And I got up and I woke her up. I said, I'm going to shore to take a shower and clean fish. She's like, well, we just got up here last night. We didn't have any fish. I said, no, we're limited out. We're done. And it wasn't even daylight the next morning, So it happens. I mean, it really does. And if you hit it, right, and that time happens, they're good. That's like I tell everybody on my charter boat in the summertime. It only takes one good hour to make a day the one you're going to remember forever.
And really only 10 minutes. I mean, it can happen so fast. You just stumble onto a pile of fish and you can just really, really clobber them.
And some of your best fishing, as far as that goes, in the dark or late in the evening, can be shallow. And in my opinion, and I don't know it all, but
He's a shallow
fishing
guy.
late when it's dark, but not sitting in your house when it's fully lighted. If you're fishing shallow, which is my favorite to do, you're beaming all that light down. I used to sit and fish with as minimal amount of light as I could, just so I could see my line or my bobber
That's
or
good
hold
advice.
my rod. And then, you're going to have a little bit better luck. And them bigger walleyes are roaming that shallow ground, searching for bait, or feeding.
And I agree with you. I'd rather fish shallow than deep any day.
And
Yeah,
I'd fish
I
it
really
and
would.
lay a little bit later than normal, in my opinion.
You get into that, you're looking at, so you'd rather fish that shallow than deep any day. You get into that quality over quantity.
Right.
I think we were talking to your friend. I don't know if he's on here tonight, but it's that quality over quantity. You can I caught 30 fish today, but I kept 6 decent fish, or I caught 8 fish today and I kept 4 really good ones.
Right. Yep.
And probably missed 3 more.
Now, when you're talking shallow, what's shallow to you?
Well, for me, it's anywhere. I've been anywhere for my best fishing has always been anywhere from 9 to, say, that 15 to 17. And that's my late evening, where I'm fishing.
Now, are you looking for, so let's say you're going to go out for the afternoon into evening. What are you going to bring with you? And what are you going to look for at a place to set up?
Just your typical jig and lures that you're using, whether you like a flutter spoon or whatever. I mean, any of your favorite lures, because they're your favorite, you know how to use them. But, we used to travel in, go out deep, fish the day, move in a little bit for the afternoon, and then try move in even shallower yet for that late evening bite. It just seemed like you just worked your way in as long as conditions allowed you to. But for me, I ended up in the evening anywhere from, like I said, that 12, 13 feet to 9 feet at the end of the night.
Now, are you,
And I'm targeting, big fish. I'd rather catch one nice fish
right?
than 7 little saugers.
Are you going to be pretty aggressive, or are you going to be pretty subtle, or does it depend?
Well, I guess it depends on, your conditions and what you're able to do. But as far as I was happy to set my foot down and just sit there and just stay and ride it out and
So-
see, you know.
I'm the kind of guy where my magic number is I like 12 feet. 12. I don't maybe like that under 12, 12, 14. But if I see a fish on the screen, you know, the first fish you see, it's like give them a rip. And if they don't like it at all, then it's okay. This might be a dead stick thing,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
You'll know right away when you give that first one you see, you give them a rip, and yeah, they don't like that. Oh,
Yeah.
then it's probably going to be a dead stick.
They're either going to run or
You
they're
know,
going to hit.
And you might only get 20 minutes,
Right.
but you might have 6 fish topside in 20 minutes.
Yep.
You know,
What's your favorite lure?
Mine is a jiggle whopper, which I don't think they make anymore, but that was my favorite one. I have.
and I know we still got some.
I still have a lot of them, but otherwise, I really like that that leech flutter spoon.
Clam.
Yeah,
Clam makes
that's a really nice one. I like the action on it.
Any specific colors you like?
I haven't actually had a chance to buy a whole pile of them. You know, we're pretty busy working. We don't get a lot of time to experiment and play with them, but I don't. Just the action alone. I mean, I think you can't go wrong with that.
If I had to
action.
take one, I'd say blue silver.
Are you fishing minnow bodies or heads?
On that lure, I'd just use a head.
Shiner or a chub, don't matter.
I don't think it matters, honestly.
What are you typically using for like a rod and reel setup?
I like a St. Croix rod, and I'll use or a Fenwick, and then I like to use a. I don't spend a lot of money on it. You know, I can do $100 and have it set up easy. You know, a Fluger or a reel, Abu Garcia reel. You know, just medium quality is plenty good for me. Yeah. Not real
Line.
yeah.
Good
I don't
line. I like good line.
I guess I'm not real picky on it. It seems like they kind of go back and forth on quality that way. But
My personal opinion is a good line will make a cheaper rod good.
Mhm.
yeah,
My personal opinion.
How about length? Rod lengths.
I like a 24, 28. I don't like to get too long. Medium light. It just depends on the maker, but you know, medium for sure
Mhm.
is usually my favorite. If it's the right rod, I can get away with a medium.
We had this
light.
conversation last
We
week.
did,
He taught
we
me how to
did.
ice fish.
Yep.
Same answers.
Yep, we got into a lot of stuff. Getting through a few of these comments here from Pennsylvania, coming up to Lake of the Woods, January 20th. How was the fishing around that time?
Usually still pretty good.
Yeah, who are you coming with, David? It'll be all right. You'll find some fish. You got a good outfitter. They want you to catch fish.
Only 14 have released at 228s, one with Lake Road Lodge last August, and got a 29 this summer on Devil's Lake and put her back. Would have mounted her, but just let her eggs out. So skinny. Devil's Lake is a good fishery too. I will say that catching mid 20-inch walleyes off the bridge this summer, that was an eye opener for me.
228s at 14. That's
That's
pretty
pretty good.
darn good fishing,
Pretty
kid.
good.
Awesome. Congrats.
I won't judge anyone for keeping them. It's their right. Just my own deal. If the fish gets spawned for my boys to catch later. Yep. And it's. I think it's.
No, you're
all-
100% correct.
Yep. All up to the individual angler. I think. If we want you to bring us out, how much would it cost?
So in our day houses, are you talking, right? Is that the question?
I would think so, but let's just go through the whole works if you don't.
All right. So like us, so our day houses consist of your house is set, your holes are drilled, your bait is in it. If like right now, obviously we're gonna haul you out. But when we get to the point where we start letting vehicles, you drive your own vehicle out. We do transport if you want to. I think we touched on
Yep,
this
we did.
last week. It $95 per person per day to just walk in and fish. And then
Bait.
that's your bait. Okay, so the heat's on, house is set, heat is on, bait's in the house. The guys are in there,
Drilled.
the holes are drilled, the guys are in there, giving you the spiel on the house. checking on you, making sure you got enough bait all the time.
It includes
You got
road
an
pass.
issue. That includes your road fees when you're fishing with us. You got an issue before or after the guys stop and talk to you, you call the lodge. They're on it. They're on the ice all day, every day. I mean, they're within a minute or two from you.
All right.
So $95 you said?
$95 per person per day for the house. And we don't necessarily have a true,
Time.
like, we get a lot of questions. Well, what do you do for my kids and this and that? And they're under this age. You know, we kind of just, it's a case by case scenario there. I know our lodging for children, Tammy, refresh my memory.
0 to 6 is free.
0 to 6 is free. 6 to 12.
7 through 12 is half.
7 through 12 is half price for lodging. Fishing, if you call and talk to the girls, they may say, we'll talk to Marshall or Sarah and call you back. Generally, we'll do something. It's a case-by-case scenario.
Okay. So does that $95 that include if they want to be transported out to the house?
No. Well, so it does until we start allowing all the
Vehicles.
vehicles out. Once we start allowing all the vehicles out, and if they wish to be transported after that, it's $5 a head to go back and forth.
Okay, so that's round trip.
That's round trip.
Okay, so
Yeah.
if it's one person, $5, two
But
person.
when we're telling you can't drive your vehicle, then it's in. We don't make.
Okay.
There's no charge.
I think I'm a little late, but just wondering how y'all are doing. Thanks for the ice updates. And are you guys going to the Fargo Ice Show?
We'll be at Fargo. We'll be in Fargo. Jim will be here because we got customers in. John will be here. It's Autumn, taking Autumn, my daughter, for the first time for the ice show. She wants to come and help. And then Mike.
Because I skipped out on you.
Yeah, Cody skipped out on me. He was there last year. A little bummed out.
There's
but-
fishing to be done. There's fishing to be done.
So Autumn's going in Cody's place.
Yeah, we'll be on the ice.
Typically no night bite from my experience, but last year I got one at 26.5 at 10:45.
I'd call that a night bite.
Yep.
Mhm.
I don't know
It happens.
if it happens. I don't know if I would say from my experience if it would be consistent, but it does happen.
No, I think you're right there.
Yeah, it does
You
happen.
know.
It's and it maybe it might be consistent in certain areas, maybe.
In
But
certain times of the year, it all changes.
Yep.
Yeah.
it changes from
Yeah,
from
we'll
day
go,
to day.
we'll go check on a sleeper, and they'll have 4 fish throughout the night,
Yep.
and all nice. And I can go down to the next house, just 100, 200 yards down the road, and
Could be a little bit of the fisherman too.
yeah, it
We
could.
could have
be.
went to bed early, or
Yep.
we could have went into town and had a lot of libations.
And they might not,
You know, I mean,
they might not have their line at the right depth.
yeah, I mean, it's luck. It's fishing. That's why they call it fishing.
Dave S caught his 29-inch walleye at 4 a.m.
Hmm.
Was that on Lake of the Woods too, Dave? Because I think clear water, and that's the difference of Lake of the Woods from anywhere else, or not from anywhere else, but from a lot of places, is the stained water.
Right.
And Roy did catch his biggest ice walleye at 2 a.m. on Lake of the Woods, 29 and a half on a
There you
rail.
go. Now we get a couple more coming in.
Yeah, it's not odd.
When I get a 30, it's going on the wall. I have a 29 3/4 that is back in the water trying to make 30 when I'm searching hard for a true 30 plus.
You'll
to
get it.
Put it on the wall. And I've been fishing for 20 years and I've never beaten 29 1/4.
Well, I've been fishing my whole life, and the biggest I have is on the wall right behind us. It's 30 and a half.
Oh, I've got some fish at night and even early morning. When do you think that bite kind of fires up for the day?
I'm
No.
not a real big morning biter
No.
guy. I haven't seen it. Have you, Mersh?
No.
It's like
My-
you need time to wake up.
You know what? My dad always used to call this lake a Union Lake or whatever, 9 to 5. Hope I didn't upset any Union guys there. But no, it was always a 9 to 5 thing for my dad, and it kind of holds true. I think that's about
Yeah,
right.
I've never
You know.
seen a great morning bite,
No.
or for that matter, a big fish, hunting or whatever you want to, however you want to say it, in the morning versus the late bite like we were talking, earlier.
Do you think what is a circumstance or weather condition that can really turn fish on that you've seen in your experience?
3 days of consistent weather. You can have, and I'm a firm believer of it. Everybody thinks, oh, it's a low pressure, it's a high pressure, it's this, it's that. Yeah, I know that affects it. I know the barometer affects it. But if you can take 3 days straight of consistent weather, it could be 3 days of highs, 3 days of low barometers. But if it's 3 days, my personal opinion of that same, the fourth day, you'll catch fish. That's just my personal opinion.
Have you, I remember one time, probably 18 years ago, we were out of Rocky Point, and that was before I could afford a GPS, and GPS wasn't super.
Well, 18 years ago, you were using the old Magellan X's, and it wasn't much of a GPS, anyways.
Never even had that, but we went out, and I just picked a spot, and we sat there, and we got a storm, and I've never caught so many fish in my life.
Yep.
It was just insane. We had a heck of a time getting off the lake because we were stuck.
Well, I remember one time, it was probably about that many years ago.
Oh, yeah.
My head froze to the trailer house that we were staying in up here, me and Jimmy, because it was that cold and
We
there was
couldn't
no
even get on
heat
the
in it.
lake.
And we couldn't even get on the lake. We set up in 4 Mile Bay because it was storming so bad. Sat out there in one of the old portables, the blue tarps, and we caught so many fish. But I think that one morning we got up, what was it? It was like
38 below.
It was like 38, 40 below, and the wind was honking,
cold. As
cold.
you could get. Biggest storm we saw. You couldn't even get across the sandbar to get onto the lake.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought, well, let's just fish in the bay then, because we don't get to go out in the lake.
I remember
one of our
about
best trips.
10 o'clock in the morning, the ice chunks finally started melting off the top of the tarp, and it was like a rainstorm in the fish house. I'll never forget it. But yeah, and we iced like 6 sturgeons that day too.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
We did. Never had a big one, but it was fun.
Yep. And we found the edge of the current and just sat there in the bay and fished it.
When you say the word sturgeon, is there a winter sturgeon bite on the Rainy?
There's guys that fish them, and there's guys that fish them hard, and the guys that fish them, they'll get one. But like I've always told you, sturgeons are like muskies. It's a waiting game.
Yep. I would agree. Ryan Wilkinson is going to be up in a few days after Christmas. What can he expect?
Year after Christmas bite, I can't. I mean, we're too early to tell. From what I heard today, you were out 3 hours. You caught fish. The guys that were in here tonight were our first portable guys that we had in. They were really happy. So I think we're going to be all right.
How we talked about it a little bit last week when I was here, whatever. But the Shiner run, how did that pan out this fall?
Shiner run was obviously not as good as last year. Last year was epic. When I say epic, I've never seen one like it. I've seen some good ones. This year, we got Shiners. I would call it average or maybe a little below average. It was better than 3 years ago when we didn't have any Shiners. The walleyes will follow the Shiners, obviously. So, I mean, we had Shiners. So I'm pretty optimistic about what we're going to find in the next few days.
What is the depth you're fishing now? I think
we set our houses. You were 21 feet. We set a couple up in 17 feet. We set a couple up in 20 feet. And then we set one up inside the island to shallower just to try it.
Robert says we were out last February during that storm. Chaz had us in a pretty good spot. Second time ice fishing there. Storms can be good.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Marshall, do you change to a bit larger hooks on jig and wrap size number 5?
Do you change to
So that
do I change the hooks? Is that what he's saying?
treadle hook.
No, I don't.
I don't either. I usually stay with the same
No, I
hook.
stay with the same hook.
Brian's had days where you catch almost nothing at all, but then that last half hour, 45 minutes turns on, and you can't
So
hardly
you
keep
call
one line
it
down.
the golden hour.
Yep.
It only takes one good hour.
I'm going through First City Guide Service. It'll be the first time up at Lake of the Woods. Well, I hope you have a great time. And once you come up to Lake of the Woods, you can have a bad experience. I mean, it can kick your butt. It happens, but if you fish it often enough, you will have some really, really good days. Off the bridges at Devil's Lake, were you talking about channel? And was that spring? No, it was it was late. It was the last weekend in September. Gosh, I don't even know. The guy that took me kind of blindfolded me.
But
it was-
happened before.
It was near Stump Lake, I think, and it was just a bridge. It was an old highway that nobody drives on, and it was ridiculous. That's all I can say. It was ridiculous. I would have never, if he would have taken me there and said we're going to catch walleyes here, I would have called him a liar. And we caught walleyes. I couldn't believe it.
That's pretty cool.
Chaz is a good outfitter. I used him last year. Placed me in with my own house. Definitely using him again. 29-inch was on my home lake in Otter Tail County. Very clear water. And that's one thing I have no experience with is clear water fishing. It's
hard to fish.
I don't know if he was on I fished Otter Tail and I fished Otter Tail County lakes. To me personally, it's hard. It's tough fishing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Me.
It's different.
I would call it tough fishing, but
you got to know what you're doing.
I got an uncle that lives on Otter Tail his whole life, and he'd take me out when I was a kid, and we'd catch fish.
I think it's just like anything that you get used to, you get good at it. You know? And do you think with reports of zebra mussels that the water will clear some and a night bite will become more common?
So the zebra mussel subject, I don't even know if I really want to talk about it because I don't know if I'm going to quote the right things that have been said. They found zebra mussel larvae 2 years ago. Honestly, it's about all I've heard after that. They really haven't found anything else since then. I go to the meeting every year. I get emails all the time from the DNR. That being said, there's reasons that the DNR believe, and I could get into why they say it, but I'm not going to because I don't know if I'd quote it correctly. But there's reasons that the DNR believe that they probably won't thrive here like they do in other lakes.
Wonder if it's temperature or just the
there's
makeup.
Temperature. There's a bunch of other variables, but I don't want to say this is what Marshall said.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yep. Right. Yep.
So there's the DNR doesn't and I know there's guys there's the DNR haters out there, but they have their biologists. I don't know. You gotta kind of take their advice as you will.
Yep.
You know.
LRL, which I would assume would be Lake Road Lodge Rocks.
We'll see you in a few days, Bruce.
Where everybody knows your name.
There's Jimmy. You were looking for him in St. Paul. He's here now.
And you're treated like
Bruce.
family. Great seeing you at the St. Paul show and looking forward to getting up there in a few weeks.
Good.
There's a morning bite when you have to leave Lake Road Lodge.
Hi, Andrew.
That's about true, isn't it? Billions of gallons of tea-colored stained water dumping into it every year in Lake Mille Lacs and other lakes. I would say, yeah, that's probably got.
I'd say you got a real good point there.
Yep. And I read something about way back when they were talking about the paper mill used to expel in I Falls used to expel a lot of stuff into the water, and they say that's why. I better not even say because I might not say it right, but it was something to do with like a lot of silt and low vegetation or something like that. But said something about the paper mill.
I'm sure there was, but that was a long time ago too,
Right,
and I'm
right.
sure they've changed their ways
Yep.
too. But it's still cloudy water.
I got my biggest walleye, 28 inches, about 9 p.m. using a glow rattler on Lake of the Woods. So some of you guys, there's 103 people in the chat here. Throw out some of your favorite lures. Let's hear what you got to think about some of your favorite lures. Mark J, how's it going in Illinois, my friend? I suppose the volume of water can make a difference with the color. Yeah, I think so too. I mean,
Well, so we're talking about stain and clarity. All our water comes from, majority of our water comes from a peat bog. And that's a little bit of where our color comes from.
Mm-hmm. Al's, how's it going, sir? there's a lot of talk about changing the wall limit on the Canadian side of the lake. Any thoughts about what should happen on the U.S. side? So yeah, I heard just this past weekend up at the Angle that they're talking about changing the Canadian limit to 1, and then I think you would have, I think with if you had a sports license, it was a possession limit of 2. So for me personally, and I'm not saying for anybody else, I rarely keep fish. I don't keep fish very often. So it wouldn't bother me. I don't know that the limit needs to change on the Canadian side. But I mean, I just personally, it doesn't matter to me. It wouldn't hurt my feelings to see the limit go to 2 on the American side, but I don't know. We talked about that a little bit last week too. What do you guys think?
That's a tough one.
And I think
I have a lot of ideas about it. Don't know if I want to really express them right now. I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm not saying I'm for it. I have some opinions, but yeah.
Wasn't there a little chatter though about changing the sauger limit this year too?
I guess I
Possibly.
had not heard anything.
Now, because they dropped the walleye limit, and I thought they were talking about they were or at least thinking about changing the sauger limit too.
I
I got a snowmobile report, trail report.
Okay.
You want to go there?
Yeah.
So I just got a good friend of mine takes care of snowmobile trail. Here's a text I just got from. We're gonna fly the lake on Thursday. We'll have a better idea then.
Okay. So
that's all I know. So it's not staked.
Okay.
That being said, Cody's next fishing report, I'll make sure I try to get a bump on that. I'll touch base with him and get a bump on that for everybody.
Okay. So if you guys didn't hear that, they're gonna fly the lake on Thursday and check out for the trail up to the Angle. So right up to the Angle.
Yes.
Yeah. So there was one more thing I was going to say about the limit. I can't remember what it was now. Oh, I think we agreed on this when I said it last week. Personally, I would like to see more enforcement on Lake of the Woods. I think.
Oh, love it. Love it. I don't think there's enough. My personal opinion.
Yep.
Some people might cringe at that, but
yep.
No, it's okay. Enforcement's not a bad thing.
I would imagine.
Agree?
I agree. I just would imagine they're trying.
Yep.
Well, they're trying.
The guys that are here are, but there's
no,
just
but
not
it's like the whole world. There's not enough help anywhere.
Right.
I mean, they're looking for help. I mean, they're always. I mean, I think if I remember right, talking to Jeremy, wasn't there like 10 or 12 positions open in Minnesota? They didn't even know if they were going to be able to fill.
Right,
Don't
right.
quote me on numbers, but I mean, Jeremy. I talk to Jeremy once in a while, and he's like, "There's a lot of positions. We don't even know if we got enough people in the school to even fill them."
And it's a big lake, and it's hard to cover it.
Sure is. Yep.
A lot of activity up here.
And I think that would be one thing that should be looked at is more.
Me personally, I don't think there's enough DNR posts. So you have a post in Baudette. I think there's 2. And then I don't know if there's
2
one
in
or
War Road, I believe.
Is there 2 in War Road? That's 4. You have Roseau, which isn't necessarily Lake of the Woods, but when it's his off season that way, he's probably over here. I don't know why there isn't at least 1 in the Angle.
Yep.
I don't think there's any.
Yep, there's none.
So it's the War Road and the Baudette guys that are up there. It's like it's over 1 million acres of water, and I don't know. I think it could use more personally.
Yep, I would definitely agree. So Robert says buckshot and jigging raps have always been my go-to.
Love them.
I love the jigging rap too. The buckshot has kind of stolen my attention a little bit more over the last couple of years, but I'll say that Slender Spoon, I'm going to definitely be using that more.
That glow red buckshot, probably one of my faves.
The Acme Rattlemaster. I've tried Acme a couple times. I don't have any right now, but they're good. They work. The old teardrop jig and a wax worm. Up here, maybe not so much, but certain bodies of water for sure. 1/4 ounce plain lead jig with a live minnow. Hey, when he says plain lead jig, have you ever fished up here in the winter or summer plain hooks?
Yep.
Wow.
Lots. Plain red hooks. Red hooks seem to be the thing.
Yep.
Yeah, you take a split shot, 8 inches above a red hook, hook a chub in the tail, let them go. It's good.
You
It'd be
ever
real
fish
good.
drop shots?
Which one?
Drop shot?
No, I don't think so.
Drop shot. I started messing with those last year, and they can be.
One of my favorite ones too to use, and it's not a hard lure to use, but it's really real fun if the fish are on. And it would be a good one when you can tell the bite's hot. Is use that chubby darter and rip those.
Those were big a
Those
few
are
years ago.
fun.
Yep.
They're really fun when you sit and watch them fish. You just keep ripping them and making that vibration in the water. Boy, they're a lot of fun too.
What are you using for electronics when you're fishing?
Typically I like to use just a Vexilar.
Okay.
That's kind of my go-to. Just because they're easy, simple, and you can move with them easy.
They're not $1 million.
Yeah, they're not expensive, but I shouldn't say that.
Yes, right.
They're good quality.
Yep.
But that's just my go-to. But they're fast. You can drill a hole, throw it in, boom, fish it a little bit. No, done. Just grab the cord, pull it, grab it, and walk away.
So if you're,
I just like the quickness.
So if you're running, do you run and gun on the ice much? Like if you're just out fishing yourself, do you get a whole hop move around, or you kind of?
Not necessarily long distances, just moving around, short little areas. But yeah, that's fun.
So if you're let's say you're on the south end here, there's not a lot of structure, but there's some. And if you're fishing structure, what are you looking for?
Well, I guess that's one of the reasons why I'm saying that I like to fishing shallow, because there isn't a lot of structure. Yeah, you can. There's some small reefs you can get to and find, but it's so hard to say. Everybody knows where they're at. There's going to be a lot of people on them, more than likely, but just that ability to move around and fishing that shallow and finding the right time of day, whether it be afternoon till dusk. And that's, what I look for, I guess, here. We don't have that big reefs, that everybody else, gets to enjoy. We're kind of in that fishbowl,
What are you, that's the hard thing for me is when I come to this part of Lake of the Woods, because I'm so used to fishing structure up at the angle, and I just see this massive body of water. I'm like, well, where do you start?
Right. And that's where, like Marshall was talking earlier, sometimes you have to just stay put and wait them out.
Sometimes, patience is best. Sometimes.
Because they're there. They're just
rolling. At some point in time, not saying if you don't get a bite, don't move. But sometimes being a little stubborn, it pays off in the end sometimes.
And people have just told us too, last 45 minutes of
the
day.
Yep. White Swedish pimple with red stripe in the shallows.
Oh, yeah.
Been a while since I fished with a Swedish pimple, but I loved them. I had them all the time when I was growing up. They're good.
Yep. I've got a bunch of them too. Lindy Chartreuse rattling flyer. Do we cover colors at all on lures?
In the wintertime, if I got to take a favorite color, my dad had a saying, and he used to look at me and say, any color is good as long as it's gold on Lake of the Woods. There's something to be said about that. Gold, anything, any combination with gold, any combination with silver. I like blue and silver are good. It kind of mimics that shiner minnow a little bit. Gold, golden orange, golden chartreuse. And then it's a time of the year thing, in the spring, I lean towards chartreuse. Fall, I lean towards orange. I can't explain it.
Orange is good. Yeah.
That's the way I do. You take a orange and black lead head in the fall all day long. I love it. And it depends on the area of the lake. There's areas of this lake where I get somewhere and I'll park on that spot and I'm like, I know where I'm at. I'm going to grab a white jig. I love white jigs.
Yep.
And there's places on this lake where you grab a white jig and you're going to catch some fish.
Yep.
And then there's other places where it's like, no, I wouldn't use a white jig here. But it's, you got to know the lake a little bit too. All I know is if you got a gold jig in your box, you got a chartreuse jig in your box, you got an orange jig in your box, and a silver one, those four, you'll catch fish.
So if you had one lure for ice fishing, if you're going out fishing in one day, you have one lure, what's it going to be?
I'm going to take a glow red Northland rattle spoon.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go with my typical, just normal lead head jig.
I'd go with a jig and wrap perch color. That's what I would go with. Bait.
I'm just going live, I guess. It doesn't necessarily have to be a shiner, chub, whatever.
You like live bait
But
better?
just a live bait.
Okay.
I can always tear the head off.
Right.
You know,
Live or
If I got the availability to a shiner minnow, I'm going to be fishing with it. If I don't have that availability, because it's not available every year, you know, obviously it's a chub, but rainbows can be deadly. I think people overlook them a little bit. They're a little bigger and they're a really good shallow bait because them big walleyes are looking for
bigger bait.
big supper.
Mhm.
And rainbows can be awesome, especially that late evening bite, even spot tails. But I like rainbows. And you stick a rainbow in the tail on that plain red hook we were talking about with a split shot 8 inches above it, and just let them go to town. They got a lot of life in them and they won't die either. That's one nice thing about
You
it.
can take those, get some of those nice sucker minnows too that aren't
Yeah, super small suckers. Good.
not your, I'm not talking about the ones that you're fishing northerns
Yep,
with, in shallow water with on your spring fishing, but just a nice size sucker minnow, just that little bit bigger one.
Mm-hmm.
And same kind of concept, just hook them, let them move around down there, let him do the work.
Yep.
It's fun.
Do you think the sauger population went down? Do you think if the sauger population went down, the walleye population would increase?
No, not at all.
I don't think so either.
Sauger's got nothing to do with the walleye population at all.
I wouldn't think they'd be too much either. Captain, how's it going? Driving. All right. Well, be careful. How's the bite on that side? Swamp Donkey says. It's it's pretty early to tell.
From what
but
we
it's
heard
not
today,
bad.
it didn't
Yep.
sound too bad.
Yep. So, because the group that was here, they told me they caught about 75. They figured.
Yeah.
And I caught 8. I was out for just a couple hours this afternoon. So, hauling a trailer and it's dark and rainy. Are you not hauling an ambulance? Are you, Captain? Like you were in Wyoming? Off the hook. How's it going? Get down here a little bit. Just think of the one big bust by a CO sir on deer opener last. Yeah, there was. Where was that again?
That was right up here. That was right at Wheeler's Point.
Yep.
I was at Jim's deer hunting at the time, but I heard about it when I got back.
Yeah.
That was a pretty huge bust too.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot of fish.
That was a
wasn't
big
it?
one. Oh yeah.
yeah.
I don't
did hear
remember the
about that.
total details on it, but it was pretty huge.
Yep.
Yeah,
I can't
no,
remember either.
Yeah.
I agree. The few times I've been checked by the dealer, they never have checked my fish, and I even
Really?
asked if they wanted to see them, and they said no. I could have had 30 fish in the cooler.
Yeah.
It could have been a fluke deal where something was going on, or
Could have been. I
Something,
mean, they
yeah.
might have been in a hurry. They might have been looking for something too. I mean, specific. I mean,
Right.
Hans Stordahl says he caught a lot of fish over the years on a gigawhopper. I don't.
How's it going, Hans?
I
It's
don't-
been a
I
few
don't know if they
years.
are even.
A jigawhopper?
Yeah.
I think he's talking the lure I was.
Yep, jigawhopper. Yep.
They're good. They used to make their own rods too. You still got one.
Yeah, I have one still. Yeah, no, they were good. They were really good. I don't know what
They're
happened to them.
They're kind of like that. Tom's makes one. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but Tom's makes one that's sort of like the jigawhopper, but it's not exactly the same. I'll have one the next time we do a live stream, and I'll show you.
Okay. Speaking of the live stream, we got 118 people in here. That's freaking awesome.
We're good.
Don't forget, guys, if you like this live stream, hit the thumbs up on your screen and really appreciate it. And excited to hopefully go out this weekend and try it anyways. Going to try for Swift, but probably not going to be able to go. And then next weekend, probably going to be at Dale's Resort like last year. But best of luck. I would assume that they're getting that that ridge knocked down. I would assume no more tomorrow.
I haven't heard anything from that.
And I'll Ghost Wolf up in Newfoundland. How's it going? I hope it's not as cold there as it is here. And hope you're doing good out there, sir. And Mark J. A couple of my friends. A dog turd works up there. Well, maybe I should have brought one with me then. I should have
Well,
tried
Fun
that today.
Dogs work in the spring for Northerns. We know that for a fact.
Well, some days anything works.
Yep. Thumbs up. Yes.
I've caught them
appreciate
on.
it.
I've caught them on gummy worms.
I've never tried that.
I had a gal. Can I tell a story?
Yeah,
So I had this
absolutely.
little girl on the boat, charter boat, a few years ago, and we're sitting off a big sandbar, and she was getting a little impatient. We were catching a few fish, but she wanted to fish with a gummy worm. Wanted to fish. She's got her gummy worm pack, and her dad is like, "You can't do that. You can't do that." Finally, I grabbed one of them gummy worms out of there, and I stuck it on her rod. 20-inch smallie right there.
Yeah.
One of the probably biggest smallies I've ever seen in my life, right? Came right there. And I looked at Dad. I'm like, you just put a trophy smallie in the boat off a gummy worm,
Yep.
and Dad didn't like it, but he knew he was done wrong there.
And when you say smallmouth, we talked about it. We touched on it a little bit last time, but there's a pretty good smallmouth bite up here on the Rainy River.
Smallies are awesome. They're fun. I wouldn't say forced into learning it this year. We bought that small boat for small boat trips. We had a couple windy days where we had to go figure out something to do. We figured out something to do, and smallmouths it's a lot of fun.
Do you think that you could? Would they be targetable? Do you think on the river
Absolutely.
in the winter?
Because
they
You know
are
what?
targetable.
I
up
know.
north.
Honestly, a couple places where we accidentally found them fishing for the Chili Bowl tournament. I honestly think they'd hold there because it was structure. I'd have to go back there and try find. I can't say that for sure, but I'd have to go back and try find. But I think so.
Mhm.
Yep.
So would you say?
You're gonna have to find some structure.
Would you say that on a scale of 1 to 10 on the rainy in the summer, spring, summer, fall, whatever, what would you say the smallmouth bite is? Do you think it's like really good? Or?
You know what? I really just got into small ball fishing, to be rightly honest with you, this summer, and I would call it real good. For example, I think, did we touch on this last year? You take that Kenora smallmouth tournament.
Yeah, you did. Yep.
And there's been a few years where it's been one right down here in the Rainy River. So there's big smallies here. And I looked at John when we were pre-fishing that tournament for this fall, and I'm like, well, I know where I'm coming back to find smallmouths because we found some real good ones and pretty. I know it was the time of the year, but they were pretty clustered too.
Mm-hmm. Unless the fish are really active, I always have a dead stick with a plain red hook.
Nothing wrong with that.
Tonight I had a dead stick down, excuse me, or this afternoon, and I think I caught. It went down 5 times, and I whiffed 3, and I think I caught 2. So my whiffs were more than my catches, but that happens. That happens.
Out of practice.
And using a Vexilar FL20 with the split screen.
Good.
What is the Vexilar up to now? Like 35?
They're like a 30, but you know something, on Lake of the Woods, when we're not really dealing with a lot of structure, an FL20 is awesome, and it's really all you need.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 30. Jim's got a 30. We rent them right here. If you ever come up and you need one, or yours breaks or whatever, we got a couple 18s, we got a couple 30s, we got a 28.
I think as long as you can get that split screen.
As long as you get that zoom and the split
I've
screen.
never used the zoom.
Oh God, yeah. No,
You gotta
it's
try it.
pretty awesome.
No, I've never used the
As
zoom.
long as you have that zoom with the split screen,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if it's an 18. Well, if you're inside a hard house or a shelter, the 18 to the 20 really doesn't make a difference. If you're sitting outside in the sun, then that 28 does make a little difference because they're brighter. But other than that, the old 18, I'd take it tomorrow and go fishing with it.
So you guys might not like me, but I've got nothing good to say about Vexilar. I've not had good luck with them.
Really?
I've had Markhams, and I really like them. And now I usually run a Hummingbird, but I dug my Markham out of the closet this weekend and use it for crappies. Really like it. But I had one Vexilar about a FL28.
We're going to get you live scoped up here shortly after
Yeah.
mine comes in.
If we keep having live streams like this, maybe I'll be able to afford one. But
We're going to have one to rent this winter.
are you really?
We are.
Oh, nice. I just had the transducer went out on it. I didn't have it very long, and I just did not have good luck with it. And it was loud.
Really?
I just didn't like
Boy,
it. And
I've had one.
everyone's different. You
Right.
know? I mean, I know.
I started out with an 8, and I still got that 8, and I could take it tomorrow and catch some fish with it.
Yeah.
I mean, well, we still got the green box up there. That was the original.
Right,
Can
right.
you get it in there?
I think so. Right,
Right there.
Yep.
The old green button, it works. I've caught fish with it.
Well, we have a lot of customers that would use the Markham though. There's
They're
nothing
good.
wrong
Yeah,
with them.
yeah, they're good.
The
Yep.
price is right.
Yep.
That's just what I use. I mean,
And I think that's what happens to everybody.
You
Everybody
got a hummingbird
gets
too, don't you?
yeah, I have a hummingbird.
something that they like, and they kind of, it works for you. You stick with it. You
Right.
know? It just
And if you've had good luck with it, stay
Yep.
with it. You don't
Anyone
have to
use a beaver
change.
tail there? Never heard of it, actually.
Garmin Striker 5. My dad's got the Lowrance Hook 5 Reveal. Both are great, but mine's had less issues. So, just throwing this in there. Summer electronics, Hummingbird, Lowrance, or
Okay, so I've always been a Lowrance guy for summer electronics. Seriously, I always have been. The Hook 5 for my application, I don't like the hooks. I like the one step above them. Personally, on my charter boat, I run Simrad. I love Simrad. If you, they're made by the same company of Lowrance. Simplicity is so much nicer with the Simrad, as far as I'm concerned. So on Lake of the Woods, when you don't need 7,000 modes, because we're a bowl. Simrad's awesome. They use them out offshore all the time in Florida and wherever, and that's where I first seen them. They're really good. We have Garmin on one of our boats. I have all Garmin on my Illumina craft that I run. I like them all. If I had to take one tomorrow and say I just want to, this is the only one I can ever have, it's going to be the Garmin because I'm going to have live scope with it. But I don't have live scope on my charters. So, and John likes Lowrance. So John has Lowrance on his charter boat. I like Simrad. So I have Simrad on my charter boat. It's everybody's preference. Our third one, we run Hummingbird on it.
I think myself, I like Hummingbird. It seems like they're easier to operate than
Hummingbird has made like ginormous leaps and bounds over the last 20 years. And like when I was growing up, nobody fished with Hummingbird. It was like the Zebco 202 of fishing equipment, and they've went so far in the last 10 or 15 years. They're good. I mean, it's all good. Everybody's like, okay, so you're a Ford guy, you're a Dodge guy, Chevy guy. It's kind of like they're all good now.
Right.
It ain't like back when,
Sometimes it's what you can afford too.
And it's brand loyalty.
Yep.
I mean, what'd your dad grow up using? My dad drove Fords. Well, I drive Fords.
Yep.
It's the way it was.
Yep. Okeechobee passing through smallwater charters down in Florida, bass fishing. Anyone use a beaver tail?
Never heard of them. Sorry. Send me a picture. I'd like to think about it.
Beaver tail. Here's a good question.
How
How
close
close?
for bait? Is that what you meant?
How close to the bottom do you fish?
I don't know what he was.
So if you're just gonna go out there and you're gonna throw a bobber down and you don't have any electronics, a good starting point is anywhere from 1 to, I would say, 6 inches off the bottom is a good place to start. I'm not a fish biologist, but I think walleyes especially will feed up instead of down. So you're better to be above them than be below them. That being said, my personal opinion on them is the ones on the bottom that you can get to chase are going to be the ones that are going to bite. And I know I'm going to get some naysayers because I always go up for them big marks when I see them. And generally, if you can get them big marks to WAP, it's a 18-inch walleye.
Right.
But I think your consistency is going to be closer to the bottom.
I started fishing higher the last couple of years. I started fishing
6 to 8
up to 20 inches off the bottom and doing pretty good.
Okay.
So I think it's probably time of year. It's probably there's probably a lot of variables that go into that. But I was surprised when I started fishing up higher. I caught more fish and some bigger fish too.
Well, one thing nice too is especially in the winter now, you can run one a little lower,
Right.
and
Yep.
Well, where are
take
you
one a
at?
little
What's
higher.
your preference?
I don't know. I kind of stay more in that medium. I like to be
Coming
close-
from the guy that's
I
never
like-
fished with a jig or a bobber.
I like to stay on the bottom, but I agree with Marshall. You know, you take a nice sized walleye and you put your lure that far off the bottom. I mean, his eyeballs,
Right.
you know, just the way the fish is built, he's going to see that lure up here a little more than he's going to see it down here, you know, the way his
Mm-hmm.
eyes are working. But I mean, you'd be surprised how many times you can take a lure and just tap it on the bottom,
Bottom and get the
and then
silt.
lift it up.
Yep. Yep.
And
What?
they just
Yep.
smoke up and hit you.
Got to go, but want to say thank you guys for taking your time to answer questions.
Thanks, Ron.
Yeah, thank you very much. We're about 20 minutes behind in the chat here, but typically 6 to 8 inches. Other people, I think it just really depends.
And
Your
depends on
personal
the day.
preference.
Yep, and the day.
We're talking about ice fishing. I know you don't have any idea what that is down there in Florida when you're still running around in the boat. So people think they're super nice. Owner of Dales is the rudest person I've experienced. I've heard that a few times. Only fish walleye in the spring, early summer, and only use lead jigs. My go-to was gray with silver flakes. Always caught them just off the bottom.
Oh.
I know he does a lot of trout fishing up there in Newfoundland. Favorite place to fish on Lake of the Woods? America and Canada are in play. Canada.
My favorite
Canada
place
all
on
day
Lake of the
long.
Woods. You know what? I'm a little bit of a rookie to the Canadian side. I started exploring it a little bit more. Autumn has gotten into the fishing thing a little bit more. My youngest daughter, so we've gone to play with that a little bit more. Bought that Alumna Craft a little bit. But my favorite place to fish, American side, in the angle, is where
I gotta
I
say,
love it.
I mean, I like your coming and hanging out with you and stuff, but my heart's on the other side of the border. I just love it up there.
Yeah.
I mean, just the variety, the islands, the serenity, less
Mhm.
people,
Yeah.
Mhm.
wildlife,
Yep.
multi-species.
No, you're not wrong.
Wind doesn't hurt you as bad. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just.
What do you
it's just
think?
so
I
nice.
run
Yeah,
probably 60% of my charters that way.
Yeah, you have
it's,
a lot,
it's fun,
lot
you
more
know.
things you can explore.
But
Yep.
you come and stay on this side. That being said, you come stay on this side, get on a charter boat. It's a lot of times that's where we go.
Yep.
You know,
Hong says any one place a red bead, I would think. Red bead above the red hook
Oh,
with
yeah.
split shot above.
absolutely. A lot of guys love red beads.
Mhm.
I do. I don't have a problem with it. I'll fish with it all day long.
And I'm still learning a lot of different techniques and things that work. And do you ever fish with plastics in the summer ever?
I do.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and they can be a lot of fun. But then again, it just depends on the day. But if you were to take like the plastics that they're using even for bass fishing, those big long worms, you know, you'd be
Mhm.
surprised
Yeah.
how many walleyes that hit them things when you're bass fishing.
Spring, Rainy River walleyes, plastics,
Plastics have come a long way.
good.
Yep.
You take like an Authentics with a whale tail
Mm-hmm.
in the spring, a white one. I love it.
Did we skip you on your favorite place on Lake of the Woods to fish? Or do you just not want to answer that?
Lake Rose
Oh,
Lodge.
no, yeah, well, Lake Rose Lodge. No, you know, I don't know. I fished it all pretty much. I'm not experienced up in, you know, at the angle like say you are. Have been
I
for
wouldn't,
so
I
many
wouldn't
years.
say I'm experienced either, but
But I wouldn't. I would still enjoy the fishing. I mean, as far as if you're going to rate it for my best luck of fishing, of course it'll be down in this area where
Right.
I've, you know, grown up. But I enjoy it. The whole lake is beautiful. You know, so much to enjoy on the whole thing.
get your guys' take on this. What do you guys think? Do you have a better chance of catching a 30-incher down here or up there?
Down here
Yeah, I think so too.
in the mud.
I think so too. However, there
I'm
are
not sure.
There's big fish.
out there,
Okay, that being said,
but you got the rainy here.
one of the
I think that's
that's four
lure.
biggest walleyes I've ever boated came out of the Northwest Angle, 32-inch walleye.
But I
First
think
fish of the day.
I think that the river right here is what
That's a draw.
really is
Yeah.
the draw for this
Yeah.
part of the lake.
Yeah, but like I said, I've caught 32-inch walleyes in the angle, and I got, I've told people that, yeah, I caught a 32-inch wall. Well, I didn't. Customer did in the northwest angle, and they're like, no way. I'm like, yeah, I have.
Well, they have to be there.
And it was on us, and it was, I'm not gonna say where I was, but it was on a spot where you go to catch a boatload of beautiful 16-inch, 17-inch eaters. You don't go there to catch big fish.
Was it 20 feet of water or less?
It was less than 20 feet of
Yep,
water.
yep.
It was the first fish of the morning. I baited up the hook. I handed the rod to the gal. I said, ladies first. She was the only one on the boat. We dropped it down. I think she woke him up because I literally turned around and she says, I'm snagged. And I said, no, you reel it in. You're not snagged.
Right.
32 inches.
That's really fun when you think you're snagged. And
Yeah.
you're not.
Mhm.
Yeah. When
And-
that snag starts coming with you and gives you a head shake, that's fun.
And have you guys noticed too that sometimes when you are snagged, never give up? Like if you get it out, you never give up because a lot of times you'll get a fish that'll
Yep.
hit right once you
Wow.
get that release.
And another thing, even that, with that being said, and I've done it 1,000 times, especially when you're jigging, if you get that thwap and you lose it, doesn't always mean he took that minnow. Set it right back down there and hold it. Just hold it dead still. Just set it down there and hold it. And I've caught so many fish that way. Just because you had that bite, don't just go, God darn it,
I missed them.
I missed them.
Yeah.
Nope, just set it, boom, and just hold it still right down there. And I've whacked a lot of fish that way.
Another guy from Illinois, Daniel Carpenter. Great information. Appreciate it. I don't use a bobber. I have a dead stick on a
Love it.
finicky Fooler tip up. Okay.
Jimmy don't believe in bobbers either.
And that combo is lethal. They don't feel a thing until you set the hook. Which one person by Swift? Which side of the lake is better, east or west?
Obviously, I'm going to say east because that's where I fish, Cody.
Yeah,
You know,
but you know what's funny
I don't
is
know.
we used to fish that other side of the lake when we were young. 'cause
We
you
did.
It was closer.
That's
and
where we
could
went.
get there fast.
That's where we went. And we like the west side then, So
Sooner we could get the
whichever
water.
side of the lake you can get to, convenient for you, I would call the best side of the lake because there's fish all over it.
And I think it depends on what you want to catch too.
I think you can catch big walleyes on the west side. You got the War Road River. You got rivers over there. You got honestly, whatever side of the lake is convenient for you to go fish is the best side of the lake.
Yep. What you know.
Yeah.
We're heading up to Lake of the Woods during the holidays. It's our yearly trip. I think there's a lot of family history in trips up to Lake of the Woods too.
Huge
Generations passed
generations.
on to
Yes,
generations.
generations. It's fun. It's fun when customers come in and they're like, it's fun to see. We literally have groups that have 4 generations that come up here and stay with us they're like, this is great grandpa, dad, son. It's really fun to see that. It really is.
Here's caught a 33-inch walleye on the
That's
rainy this
amazing.
Well,
That's awesome. Send us some pictures. Love to see them.
fall. Yeah, I would too. That's pretty cool.
Lake Road Lodge at mncable.net. Cody will post it for me.
I've seen people using the beaver tail fat as bait.
okay,
Haven't
that's what I
heard
was
of the
wondering
beaver
about.
tail
For
thing.
panfish and bigger chunks from northern. Wow. Huh.
That's
That'd
what
be
I was
interesting.
asking about. If he meant the type of a lure or the actual beaver
Yeah,
tail.
yeah.
Interesting.
Backwoods, hello. Up in Newfoundland also. Boyum Outdoors, how's it going? Whoop. Where did I go here? Love the reports. I fish Lake of the Woods several times a year and once or twice on the ice. Thank you for the great, very close to 100% is accurate reports. Yeah, and one thing that I will not do on my reports is BS. If fishing is
Nope.
slow, I'm
Slow.
gonna tell you that.
Yeah.
Not gonna sugarcoat anything. It is what it is. Jacob is wrong, lady. No idea. We're talking about Dales again.
Fishing's always good, Cody. Catching can be slow.
Right. Yep.
It's what you make of the trip.
Canada side northwest angle is the best. I agree with you 100%, Gene. My heart is there. My favorite part of fishing any lake is in the water. I really hate when my lures end up in the trees on the
Love
bank.
it. Love it.
Yeah, Captain, he's quite the character. He's always got something funny to say here. Under the water is the best place to find fish.
Yeah.
You're right.
Paul likes turtles. And let's see here. Coyote trapping. We're running out of comments here. Still got 100 people in the chat. That's awesome.
Wow.
Appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up if you guys wouldn't mind. If you like the stream, if you don't like it, hit the thumbs down. Doesn't matter to me. If you like it, just let us know what you think. But as we're getting to an hour and a half here, I've got a 2-hour drive home, and I got stuff I got to get up for in the morning. Closing thoughts?
Well, we're just getting rolling. So if you got time to get away and get up here, let's try it. I mean, like yesterday, we weren't even sure we were going to be fishing today. Here we found out we could have.
I came in off the lake and said, Jim,
Yeah,
you better get to work.
we got 10 inches. We better get going. But yeah, if you got time, come on up and you can do our report for us.
Do you guys do any guiding for portables at all? I mean, I don't.
We
I
really
realize on the
don't.
manpower,
We're more than willing to give you all the information we have. When you come and stay with us, Cody, you've known me for a few years now. We want you to catch fish, obviously. I mean, that's our business.
Right.
We have portable or we have rentals, and obviously we want to rent our rentals. But if you come and stay with us and you have your portable, I'm going to send you in the best direction I can. To the point to where, like in the wintertime, when we're setting our roads, we always make a loop on the end of them. And if portable guys come in, it's like, go down to the loop on the end. It's a good place to set up. It's out of the way. It's away. The biggest thing is in the wintertime is away from people, because it's a big bowl. But if you just get away, that's the big thing.
I agree too. Yep. I always like to find, a spot off the road somewhere, kind of by myself. Not
And that's what we try to do.
Yep. So
Just spread out a little bit.
Yep. Any good tips or advice coming up on this ice season you guys want to pass along?
Patience. It's always good.
Yeah. Well, I always say if
Have
you
fun.
can come fishing for one day, you might have pretty good luck. But if you can come fishing for 2 days, you have 50% better chance. But if you can come for 3 days,
You'll
probably
get
gonna
one
catch
good
some
one.
fish.
Yep. Any predictions for this ice season?
It's
I'm
it's
not
pretty
sure.
early to tell, but we're gonna be okay.
You think
from
the
a-
high water changed anything this year?
in 2014 we had the same thing happen. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a tougher year. But in 2014 we didn't have a shiner run, and
Right.
this year we got a shiner run. And the first reports we got in today, I was stoked about them. We all were. I mean, Cody will post some pictures, but yeah, we had a good time.
What's your email?
Email Tammy is
Lake Road
lodge@mncable.net.
Lodge. I'll put it in the banner so you guys have the Lake Road Lodge
At
Yeah.
mncable.net. Or they can find us on Facebook, message us.
And their link to their website is on every fishing report also.
Give us a call if you guys are in Fargo this weekend.
Yeah, stop by and
Stop by, talk to us. Our show special is 10% off any reservation, any midweek reservation.
I think he sent you a picture.
Awesome. 10% off any midweek reservation. We still have some availability for this weekend.
4 openings for this weekend if you guys
Yep.
want to get in. Alice's first time I've seen you guys. Enjoy the talking info.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Al.
these live streams have actually. I don't do a lot of live streams, but when you get 100 people in here, it kind of prompts me to do some
This is
more.
bigger
of them.
than the
So,
last one.
Yeah,
And you
it's
said the
been-
last one was good. You doubted me on Monday Night Football.
I did. I sure did. Because I don't do a lot of live streams. Typically.
Depends on who was playing.
Yeah. Well,
Was it the Vikings?
no,
Hey, Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
Nice
Wow.
fish, Ryan. I just got, beautiful.
Wow, that's a hog.
Gorgeous fish.
Yeah,
Love
nice.
it.
I don't think that. I mean, I hope you do, but I don't know if you'll ever duplicate that. That's
No, yeah, that's a tough one.
That's pretty.
You know,
cool.
I fish. Everybody's got their unicorn fish they want. I mean, to me, well, 30 and a half is pretty big. You know, I've released 42-inch northerns where I've had releaser's remorse afterwards. It's like, boy, been a long, and I've never done another one, and I probably, you know what? If I go to my grave and don't get another one, I'm still gonna have that memory.
Yeah.
You know, I've had 50 some plus muskies, fun. You know,
You still caught it. You don't have to keep
my
it.
Right.
my biggest sturgeon is 64. I know there's been bigger ones caught, but 64 is big.
Yeah.
You know, we got you hooked on sturgeon fishing.
Yeah, thanks for that.
No problem.
I got a 66 last year, and that was I mean I couldn't.
Sturgeon is awesome.
It is.
That's a whole nother chat session that we can go into another time, because we got sturgeon season coming. John and I both guide. It's a 10-day season. It'll fill. Get your reservation in early.
And there's a lot more time than that too. There's just
there is, but it's
that.
that 10-day keep season that's right before Minnesota fishing opener, and it's honestly the best time of the year to catch them. You know, so it's the deal. I mean, it ain't about catching them because the DNR, the slot is so tight that, you know what, I've fished them every year for I don't know how many years. I think I've kept 2, but I've caught a lot of big sturgeon.
There's a lot of big sturgeon in that river. Awesome show and work. Thanks for sharing your knowledge and expertise, Lake Road Lodge, and keep the shows going. Very informative. Yeah, they're pretty fun too. We probably will do some more. Sometimes it's a little tough for me because of my work schedule. For my job, I work nights. I work nights mostly, so that gets to be tough. But thoughts on frozen minnows?
You know what?
Oh, no problem.
No problem with them. You know, if I don't have a live shot, honestly, truthfully, in the summertime, it's the only minnow I fish with. I don't take a fathead on my boat in the summertime. I know there's going to be people that say I'm nuts, but it's a frozen shiner every day, all day, if I'm jigging. Now, if I'm pulling spinner baits, there's leeches and night crawlers on there, and I jig with leeches too. But summertime, if there's a minnow on my hook, it's a frozen shiner. Now, I believe I respect my elders, and I've listened to there's a lot of older guys that I've talked to. They're like, well, you freeze them, their scent glands break, so when they start to thaw in the water, they give out more oil quicker. I don't know. All I'm saying is they work good.
We have customers that come here.
Yeah, we got customers that's the only thing they'll fish with in the wintertime.
In the winter, when we have live shiners available, they walk in the door. Do you want some live shiners?
Mitch and Mike, twins,
Yep.
they come up all the time.
They want the frozen ones every time.
Every time they catch fish too. They want Sarah's house all the
They're
time.
good fishermen. Though.
They want Sarah's house.
They always want Sarah's.
They want Sarah's house.
Brian said, I've never broke the 40 mark on pike or the 30 on walleye, but come close. I got
You'll get it.
Fish
enough.
Sturgeon. Yep.
That's a big sturgeon, man.
I'm
That's
over
a
the
big
40,
sturgeon.
and I got the 66-inch sturgeon, but I can't break the 30-inch walleye.
Yeah, I got both those. I don't have the big sturgeon
My
yet.
full-time job, I won't disclose what I do because I just won't right now. I might do it one day, but it's just I'm not going to say what I do right
That's
now.
okay.
So you guys know, but
We're fishermen.
Yep.
For fishermen.
I'll tell you what I want my full-time job to be. I want my
here.
full-time job to be on YouTube, but
Right here.
we got a ways to go. But it's
It's
a
my
learning
retirement
curve.
job. I told you that, right?
Well, that's the thing, Crappie fishing on Lake of Woods. I have a video that I just released
Ontario.
yesterday, and it's crappie fishing on Lake of the Woods. I'm not going to say, and I'm not a professional. I don't, I think it's declined a little bit because it's been hit really hard, but I got hopes that it's going to come back. But just in my experience, it's not like it was 5 years ago, but there's still big crappies there and there's still a good amount of them, but it's not as good as it was 5 years ago, but it's still good. What's the predictions for pickups and wheelhouses?
Pickups and wheelhouses. Well, you can usually, a safe bet is shortly after Christmas, generally. I know you get your naysayers in there, and I always stress it, safety, caution, and we don't want accidents. That's why we don't have accidents.
Yep.
We are safe. I'm guessing it'll be sometime
It's very
around
weather
December
dependent.
26th.
It's very weather.
We
dependent.
got some weather coming in now. If we get a big dump, we got 10 inches, but if we get a big dump of snow on top of this 10 inches,
Yep.
that could set us back huge.
Yep.
Yeah,
it
There's
could
not
be-
many years we can't get them on by New Year's.
after Christmas,
Right.
New Year's,
Yep.
Yep.
So, anything in closing, guys?
No, I'm good.
No,
Well, I appreciate you for sure.
Fun time.
And I appreciate you for sure having me
always.
coming up
We
here.
appreciate you.
And we got on vacation for 15 more days, so maybe you'll get over your time
Really?
or two extra. Yeah.
Good.
Boy,
I took
you won't
19 days
disclose your
off.
job, but I think I want that job, buddy.
But with that job, you need 19 days of vacation.
I understand.
So, but
Now, when I call Cody in the spring and I'm out in Ohio walleye fishing,
Yeah.
and I'm in Florida
And I'm at
walleye
work.
fishing, and
Right.
Cody's at work, he's like, I'm jealous. Yeah, but dude, you were ice fishing all winter long and we were working,
Yeah. So I hate to close this live stream with 87 people in here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Weekly fishing report, our the weekly
We should have
fishing
another one out this week again, though, just because it's early,
tomorrow,
right? Yeah.
Yep.
Tomorrow, well, even if it ain't tomorrow, we should probably nail one on Thursday,
Yep.
anyways.
I'm planning on tomorrow, and then because tomorrow is Wednesday already. Where did this week go? Like to do one before the weekend, and then probably one like on Saturday night.
An
or
early
Sunday.
ice live stream thing's kind of good. We should try to make something work next week too,
Yep.
maybe.
We could probably do that, and we'll just go from there. But to all 83 of you that are
Thank
still
you.
here, thank you very much. If you are looking to get up on Lake of the Woods out of Baudette, you're looking for a place to stay, you're looking for fishing sleeper houses, day houses, like I said, motel, good rates, just a good place, good guys, and a lot of fun. So appreciate each and every one of you, and we will catch you on the next one. Have a good night.
Thank
See
you.
you later.